Let's go. We've just came a long way with accounting. So now there's a standard called International Accounting Standard. It just guides us as IS number 1 on how we need to present our financial statement. AFS stands for Annual Financial Statement. We need to see how do we move forward with that. Let's get to the point. I always start to say, remember, you guys need to pass. I did this, so what is it expected from you? I've got that in red, the expectations. Properly prepare the annual financial statements, so that you need to be able to do. They are not asking too much, just do them properly. So with my help, I'll show you how I used to break this thing down and make sure how things fitting up. So now we're gonna start writing. We need to pick up on the speed. We need to also write very neat. We need to be kind of exam savvy and take in terms of how do we get ourselves ready for the battle that is coming on the 6th of June. All right. If we really recall, on Unit 2, we've covered the conceptual framework. When I move again to learning Unit 5 and 6, I will need to revisit the conceptual framework. We need to know the definitions of financial statement. We're not covering them this one. So remember, if you did not do the accounting previously, I'm not sure how you got credited. I think I had someone said I haven't been doing accounting, but he went straight to accounting 2. There could be that danger here because majority of the elements of financial statements we're not going to be able to define here. It's the work you need to cover on that. We are picking up from where we left off in accounting 1. Recognition criteria. This will really come into play when certain events take place. You guys need to be sharp on that. Measurement. Majority of the topics you guys will be covering from tomorrow, it's more on measurement. You go to tomorrow on learning unit 4, we're doing the measurement. Learning unit 5, we'll do lots of measurement, same as 6 in terms of that. But today we are on terms of, let's get this presentation on how it needs to be a disclosure. So that includes its framework as well as the notes. The core statements, it could be the statement of financial position. You need to be very comfortable in doing that. The recognition majority, it just invites itself to study unit 5, where we're dealing with the asset disposal. So these are the kind of key concepts that are underlying the preparation of financial statements. Start with it. A complete set of annual financial statement will consist of this. First things first, you always start with a statement of financial position. What are the objectives there? It's a nice read when there's no electricity. You can just go through that as a reading note. But what is more important, you need to know how does this statement of financial position looks like. It's an abbreviation. I think someone asked last week, what is the SOCIE stands for? We tend to kind of come up with this abbreviation next to the journals. So this will be SFP. I frame them as like the frameworks. So this it comes first. If you open any other set of annual financial statement, financial position statement comes first. So hence I refer to it as a framework. So your job here is to say, I need to say in the first 2 minutes, be able to prepare the framework. Any other things that is missing, I will get it in the details of the question. So now we're gonna need to get to the point where we know how we lay out things in that entire A4 page. You need to leave the line. Once you've got, kind of call them the framework. I don't know what's the other better way, you guys will assist me, but it works nicely when I call them frameworks. Then where you're gonna start doing the calculations and reading the required information and going through additional information, you do it on a separate page. So the framework is to say, if there's no time, I've already prepared everything. It looks very nice. Okay. You wanna call it a format, my format? Thank you. You can call that. And number 2, once you've done with the position, you'll get to the income and expense statement, is the one that we call statement of profit or loss, and other comprehensive income. Now they're introducing some new terminology, the comprehensive income. What that means is we'll get into details. But the profit and loss kind of statement, it's where you determine if your incomes are exceeding your expenses, you'll get the profit. If it's the other way around, you'll get the losses. So this other comprehensive income, Ahmed, let's focus. We'll come to the question and answers later on. On the other comprehensive income, once we check the movements, I think investment property, they can say there's that element of the fair valuation. It might need to be accounted for. There's other things that we can deal with under the property, plant and equipment if we're dealing with the, what do you call this, asset revaluation. They will tell us how we need to do the accounting policy there, and sometimes it could end up under the other comprehensive income. That would be framework 2, or Mohammed said we can call it framework 3. That statement of changes in equity, remember we spent a little bit of time doing the cap issues last, the share statements. Anything that is done under the equity, you will prepare it under this statement, under this framework 3. The total amount that you get for everything that happens under the equity, you will plant it under framework 1. So you need to know how is the interlink with that. Anything coming under framework 2, it gets plugged in as well under the framework 3. So these are the kind of soft arithmetic things that you need to know where everything needs to be sitting at. And then the cash flow for the purpose of what you call this, your course. We're not covering the cash flow, I think, in a second here, not unless I need to double check, but I don't think they've opened up for your syllabus. It's another one. I will have called it framework 5 because I've got another framework on the accounting policies and explanatory notes or the other notes. So I'll usually have these 5 frameworks. By the time you get to the board, you've got those things that are developed. You just keep expanding them as you proceed with your years of studies. So we'll get into the details. See, how does these animals look like? Let's park here and get to the charts and questions for now. Start with Mohammed, or the format was it. What question are we doing today? You guys will guide us on the questions. You can bring the question up, Mohammed. It's nothing wrong. We'll see what we'll add. I don't think I'll have questions as yet for now, but we'll see. Delin, to answer you on the abbreviation, it's okay. I think if you are operating at 93%, like Isabel, that's fine to show that that is not important. So for instance, you need to write in full once they say prepare a statement of financial position. So you'll add something like as at. So you cannot make abbreviation. Abbreviation is normally under the journals. But will that be marked correctly? I'll say really don't do that much. All that I need you that we've covered last week, if I'm debiting my asset, credit that. These other things, don't do that. If you are producing the memo, go ahead and do it. But there is no time. I'm sure it takes you 4 seconds to write SVP or that SPL, whatever that thing you've written there. It seems too long. Any other questions before I move? Remember, I'm trying to get you to pass 820 minutes. So if you are operating at less than 1.2 minutes per mark, you're more than welcome, meaning you are writing faster than me. So I don't have an objection in you writing all these other abbreviations you will cover in the course. Let's prepare a statement of financial position in the whole page to say how it should look like, because from Saturday and Saturday we'll start doing lots of writing. Let's prepare that as the first requirement. The first one, the first framework, statement of financial position, Omole February, end of February 2022. I'll give 2 minutes 47. You could post on the group Those that are not on the group will share the number later on to add, but I give you 2 minutes to write and stop. So it should take you 2 minutes in an exam to prepare the framework, unfortunately.
Sorry, sir. What exactly are we writing the what do you
the
call
framework?
the body? Yes, the body of what must
look
we
like.
Okay, all right.
Don't give the assets though, because we don't know as yet.
Okay.
Which one we give it on
Right.
how it should look like. 1 minute to go. Darlene, we don't have the sets of assets as yet. What if we don't even have those one? We only have the PPE, so you don't need to write anything. Just refer to what Elias did before you. Linda, you took a lot of time. We don't know about these assets at all. So you need to remove the detail asset and leave the blanks, but fair attempt. Risuna, you've got the whole pages where you're gonna write. If I've given you 3 non-current assets, where you're gonna write them? Let's respond. You write, leave the space. That's another tag where you can plug the details of assets now. Suppose I'm giving you property, plant and equipment, investment property, and some goodwill. Where you can write them under your answer.
Sir, I thought you actually wanted us to write the format, so but I will correct that.
Yeah, correct that. So don't be afraid. I can see your finger is holding there, so you must write that total. Can redo that again. Owner's equity, where you've got your hand, you write and leave about 4 space under the current asset. You write under non-current, you leave about 4 space. You move to equities and all that. Your current number 1. Tsepo, I can see you've got number of space. Let's do it. Let's get to the solution now. Don't worry. We need to write and leave the line. Remember, there are about 20 lines on each of the A4 page. So we need to be very generous in leaving the space. So once you've got the current asset, you leave about 4 lines. Go to your non-current asset, you leave about 4 lines. You've got your total, you move to equity and liabilities. What comes first? Is it equity or liability? Let's sort that one out, class, in participation.
It's liability.
It's become under asset.
It's equity.
It's equity.
It's equity.
Yeah.
It's equity.
I don't know for now. But that's the participation that I need. Don't forget to unmute. Let's see.
Equity first.
Let's see, who was that? And I also touched on a similar response like yours. So the preparation will look like that. Let's look at number 6. Slide 6. Thanks for the attempt, guys. This is how you write that. I think majority of you got it right. That is very important. There was a time I think we had a student sitting at 49. When we know that you're writing as ed because it's a financial position. I think they ended up giving that student a 1 mark to get a 50. So we'll try to look for a mark for you when days are very dark to not repeat. So he was writing it very nicely there to say, this is how you write. You start with the name of the organization, then you write statement of financial position as at 30 June 2021. I think in my case, I requested you guys do February for 2022. And there you do your asset. You've got 2 categories. What are 2 categories in our assets?
Non-current assets and
non-current
assets. If you have raised your hand, you'll have answered it correctly. Can I please hand? Can't be sorry if we've got the rules. We've outlined. I'll just check who's got the hand up. No, Kulunga, let me give you a chance since your video is off now.
Non-current
assets and current assets.
Is she correct?
No.
Yes, it's correct. It's non-current asset.
Don't we start off by current assets, then non-current?
Can
I
we
stand to be
please be
corrected.
recognized? I'll come to you. I'll look at those hands. Lechodi, I know you really want to participate in the class. Let me give you a chance.
Good evening. Yes, it's non-current assets and then current assets.
Okay. Let's get those things for exam purpose as well. We don't start with current asset. We will start with non-current asset. Rovi, I saw your hand was up.
Yes, I wanted to say we start with non-current assets, then current assets.
Then current asset. So as you prepare those that are doing corrections, I don't have a space. So you need to leave about 4 or 5 lines for non-current asset in case you're going to do that. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you don't write this one because you haven't seen the exam. Remember, you're preparing the framework. But what you can do is you leave these lines for them. So these are the type of non-current assets that we could have. Let me just finish. I'll come back to you, Benhilde, now. So you need just to leave lines. You don't write anything because you haven't read the question. You saw the requirement. You're saying, okay, this requirement wants me to prepare the statement of financial position. All that you do, I'm taking my first 2 minutes now to prepare that thing to be ready before I go to read the entire question. All right. Let's just cover the current asset as well. Then we move to the current asset. There it is. So that was an example I was referring to. So this blank space is like in that question, if I'm dealing with property, plant and equipment, I've got enough lines that are remaining there where I can plug my PPE there. So I'll come back to you, Benhilde. Just hold it.
I'm only seeing the number of the attendance of learners. What you are presenting, I'm not able to see it.
All right, please come out and come back. Isabel?
Yes, Mr. Molefe. I remember when I was doing 1601, they classified fixed deposit under non-current asset, and I've always wondered why, because according to me, shouldn't that be classified under cash and cash equivalent? There's somewhere that I saw when we were doing 1601 in the study guide where they put fixed deposit under non-current assets.
What do you think they could have done that? Someone assist Isabel there. What's a non-current asset by definition? Zakes?
Evening, Mulefe and family. I think
Sure.
the reason for that, it was because the fixed deposit was longer than 12 months. So if it's longer than 12 months, then automatically it's a non-current asset. Because a current asset is everything that can be changed to cash, or that can be changed into cash in less than 12 months. So anything above 12 months is classified as non-current.
That's a brilliant answer. And also, Linda, I do that. Because if they were given 11 months, where they will go, Linda?
They will go under the non-current assets.
It's 11 months.
I mean, sorry, they will go under the current assets, sorry.
Yes. So we're at a point where we need not to confuse these things because we passed the other module. So here you need to be mastering that. Thanks for that as well. Loveness, you let us know once you're able to rejoin. I don't know where you got lost. Ruby, I don't know if that's a legendary hand. Itwele.
Oh no, I think I wanted to also answer, but he's given a brilliant answer to that, so I concur. But it's fine.
You have
It's a brilliant.
Nogolong, I'm not sure if that's a legendary hand. Let's drop it. So you guys get this comfort because I don't have the A4 page. This is how you will write it. You write to leave 4 lines, same thing under the non-current asset, under the current asset mean. Now I can't work. Someone is working on my screen. Please don't be tech savvy there. Sorry.
Yes, before we move on, I just wanted to ask a question. If is it like always important to have like a comparative figures between the current year that we're reporting for and the previous year?
That's a very brilliant question. Because you guys writing for 2 hours, you might not do that. Maybe when you write your board one, because it's 7 to 8 hours, you might have to do readjustment of previous years. But no, in reality, you do 2 comparative years if this company has been in operation for more than 1 period. So if this company was operating for the first time, it will have that. So from 2022, you'll have 2 years. So when you prepare financial statement, you need to have 2 columns for previous year and the current year. But in an exam, we will not want you to do all those things.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Okay, we'll come to that.
Baby?
Baby Linda, it's okay. Let's check. The one that you're mostly going to deal with for your exam, let's just get into it. It's going to be property, plant, and equipment. So what happened is it might be that first note. So you need to say, normally they'll ask this financial position together with this note. We'll get in terms of how you prepare the note. And then the total amount you get, you'll plug it here. So that as a note 3, so note 3 will be outlined there on what you did to get this amount eventually. So I need to study that note to come to this amount that will have been here on note 3. Yeah. I want to move to that. It was interlinked because I haven't. Let's just park and see the other asset will come to the note. No, it's not for today. We ended up that. Remember the first 2 slides prior. You'll have that inventory, trade, and other receivables, financial assets, cash and equivalent, total asset on the framework. So you don't list this one, these 4 current assets that I'm having, but you're giving yourself a space. If they come in a question, you've got that. So by the time you get to total assets, you will be by half the page, total asset. Please, Lerato, thank you for joining. You can switch off your camera. Right. Then just check to those that got that one wrong. So it's equity and liabilities. So you don't plug liabilities. I saw some were dropping them just below the total assets. You start having your current liabilities as that. You don't do that. You move nicely. Just after the total asset, you write equity and liabilities. And then you're going to have the total equity. We start with equity before liabilities. Equity is at share cap. That's where we move with that statement. That amount could be sitting there. The total equity. So these are the other things that you'll do under the statement of changes in equity. You usually wouldn't bring them up here. If you're doing the subsidiary, once you move forward, you'll bring non-controlling interest, but you don't. So you also leave about 2 or 3 lines under your equity. So you're almost towards a third of the page down the line. You bring in your liabilities now. Non-current liabilities. Also at UNIS at your level, you're not plugging lots of liabilities. You might need 2 or 3 lines. That's sufficient. Current liabilities, 2 or 3 lines. Then you buy the end of the page. Let me see, you attempted it again. Let's see that. Zex almost did it correctly. Just leave those space there, Zex, in terms of practicing. Unfortunately, you need to get to the point where you do this for 2 minutes. Let's get that. On those that submitted their answer, how long do you think it took you? Because I think I started talking from 1:45. How long it take them? It's 6:05. We've shown again. It's all right, Nande. Please prepare the statement of financial position as per what you had without writing the details of asset. Let's do it one more time. We'll stop at 6:08. We can all attempt and let's see if we're hearing each other. I see you, Tsepo, what you did there. You don't have the name of the organization. It took a lot of space. I'm not sure if you're using a notebook, a shorter version of it. Means you'll have 2 pages for your current liabilities, or there it goes. Try if you can to avoid going over 2 pages. Peter Icon. You didn't write the statement of financial position and the name of the organization. Yes, I'm very happy. It's much improved. That's a classical memo from Elias. We need to use that. Darlene, I think the 2 minutes killed you there. Mavis, please check Elias' answer. I cannot add more. That you really need to practice, Darlene. And Linda, please use that first line as well so that you I'm happy with that. Isabel, I'm very comfortable. I'll come to the chat, guys. I'm on the phone. Humolemo, don't put those X's there. You'll forget in an exam and do that. You leave the blanks. We don't need those X's. I'm happy. Lanhlanhla, I'm very happy. Just make sure, I think, yeah, it's your journal you are using. You need a proper book. I did say, hence I was asking for people's picture on what is on their desk so that we write. We need an A4 page, but that's a fair practice. I see.
Can't use Excel. Can't use Microsoft Excel.
And everyone, I think we got right. So this will need to be in your blood. You guys have to do the repeat. Those that haven't done it, or maybe because they are not added, I hope you have done it. It doesn't get better with this. So this, everyone that is on the group and those that have attempted to answer, it saves you now the good enough time now to concentrate on the machine. Then what you do from here, you go to the next page, where once you start reading, you're gonna start doing calculations. So your life is gonna be spent, 80% of your time you'll spend on that calculation page. The only time you move from calculation page is when you come back to the phase of these things that you've just been doing now to answer now, to bring things into the financial position. Because if now we submit all this, let's get to that exam technique. How much marks by attempting this you're gonna get? If there is no amount that is being transferred to what you've just submitted on the group, you don't get the mark. Let's get this one right.
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, do you have like Some of us would get coming from work, we don't get classes earlier possible. Are you gonna leave any pre-recorded audio videos after we're done with the classes?
I take this is your first time attending. Yeah, the recordings will be available after 7 days.
After
So you
7 days.
should be able to catch up. But mainly what
But
we did today was the preparation of the financial statement on how you'll go about preparing it.
Yes. Okay. So where will I access them? Where will I get them?
In 7 days, but you're not lost. So don't worry about today's recording. If you've done the exercise now, you covered. That's all that we've done for today.
But where will I get the recording? Like where will I get them after 7 days? Where will I go to
We'll
access them?
check. Kagiso will comment. There's a link, I think, on via the email, or you'll. I'll share the email later on for the end of the class.
Thank you so much.
Right. How did that go? Let's just get to the time and that. So we really need to focus on that. Did we get it right? Is 2 minutes doable, or you think you really need to? You need to get it until you get it just under 2 minutes. That's as far you need to get that one right. I'm not gonna assume anything on silent. Mavis.
Yes, for me, this techniques it's quite like it's more helpful because I've noticed that since the online I've been struggling because I was not finishing. So it is important to understand the tactics on how to at least to limit eliminate the time wasting, because now you will start panicking because now time is moving because of such mistakes. So I really appreciate this. It's an eye opener for me that I can, because most of the time I know the typing part, it was a problem. So I really, this is very much helpful.
Okay, that's highly appreciated. There's no any other way. I think we've been in accounting for quite some time, some of us. It's yeah. All right, we do get it. It's fine. We're trying to practice time here. Let's not delay. However, you guys going to write the exam, just take into account that that 1 hour they give you to load your exam, it doesn't give you an advantage that you will be able to write something else. So you might have someone sitting wanting to see what you are doing and you're not writing when you're loading. They used to have the online invigilators. I think some of the universities are already having that, because you guys think when you are there at home, no one sees it. So all those things of the pictures and all that, they're trying to minimize that. So time is very important. Either you're using the pen or you're going to be using the technology on the Microsoft other tools. All right. What else did I have here? Not sure if I wanted to bring the statement of comprehensive income together with that. So we've got enough time, don't worry. How will slide, framework 2 look like? Framework 2 is a statement of other comprehensive income. You've got 60 seconds to do it. Just get the clean page. I'll let you know when to start with doing that. Don't start now. Let's get that one right. Just waiting for my clock to tick on 16:19, then you can start. Kindly prepare, that's the requirement. The statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income for Molefepora for 28 February. We've got exactly 1 minute, so we'll stop at around what, 20 past? That's framework 2, so you prepare that. Isabel, I think I saw your hand in live screen, then Ayanda will be next.
Oh, Mr. Molefe, no, I just wanted to say, for me, it didn't take me a minute. It took me about two and a half minutes.
That is too much. I didn't see
Yeah.
you. Are you in the group? What did you write?
Yes, I did. I sent earlier on. I wrote the statement of financial position profit and loss and other comprehensive income. Then I wrote the revenue, cost of sales, then I jumped, then I went to gross profit, other income. I jumped 2 lines, administrative expenses. I jumped 3 lines. Then I went to finance costs, profit before tax. Then I went to tax, then profit for the year.
You don't do that. 1 minute meaning you can write up until the year end, nothing else, because you don't know how the income will look like.
Okay.
Khomolema, I can see you also read a lot of things. Or whatever you're writing, it makes sense that you know how it looks like, but you don't have a minute to prepare all of that. So a minute, it means you can just write the name of the organization and the statement of profit and loss, and then you stop there. You, Tricia, there's no way you could have done that in a minute. You guys, you see, so it's the same example I'm building from the previous one. On the skeletons, there's nothing you're just doing. You're just dumping things as they look like.
Hi, sir. I actually wrote everything down, and I now realize that it took me more than 2 minutes to write everything down. I wrote the obviously statement of profit and loss as at end of February, and I wrote February revenue and all the other things like costs, gross profit, other. So I realized I was not supposed to write those things.
For a minute, you're not supposed to write that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, class, that we're not on the details as yet. We're on the practicing to get all these requirements first. The last one, so those I think were there in the last 2 exams. The first one that we did, we're doing the third one. Listen carefully, you're not writing things, you're preparing things. This one will take slightly bit long. Mahomet, I think I wanted to entertain you a little bit. Let me see. For the next exercise, can you please use a pen to write? I don't want you to use an Excel. I'm not comfortable with the way you're doing it. The reason being is when you go to write that exam, you don't need to have any other things on your laptop, assuming you're writing with a laptop, that are pre-prepared that you're just gonna pull and extrapolate and work on. Let it be the first live thing. Alternatively, I'll give you a space. You can take the sharing over and write in that if you want to do that, but don't kind of pull out something as if it has already been prepared. I would really feel this a little bit of discomfort if I were on that thing. Thank you so much, Nobonga, for that question. It's valid. We're getting into that. But before we get into that, we need to get that comfort right on that. We'll get to that. We'll see the answers. Please, your video's off, guys. I don't know how do you guys attend sleeping on the bed. But anyway, it's a topic for another day on Saturday. We're still in an exam on the requirements one more time. Don't worry, we'll get to the numbers. I think you are excited about the numbers more than anything. But that's where things start to fall off. If you don't get them right, you will suffer. Again, don't come up with those much more details you did in the previous example, the financial position and statement of that. On my projection, if you can see, I've got the last framework. I'll skip 3 for now. Accounting policies and explanatory note. I can put my head on the block. You're going to get a question that wants you to prepare the note. That I can tell you for free. I haven't spoken to the lecturer what is in an exam. I'll try to get that for you. But what I'm doing, I know most of the time it's in an exam. So now we get into the note. I know I haven't covered the PPE, but it's there. It's a framework. It's good if you haven't seen it before. We'll get into it either on Saturday or the other week on Thursday. That is fine. But those that are already, so my question when I'm saying where are you with the studies, it comes or eliminate from that one. So in an exam, they'll say, now that you've done that PPE, please prepare the note for property, plant and equipment, being note number 3, on how your note will look like. So on how we're answering, I think it's Nobulunga asking there, to say, how do we show the answer? Now you're preparing the answer on the side. Prepare the note for property, plant and equipment, being note number 3. This will take a little bit longer. We could have number of assets. All that you can remember, I don't care, but don't show one. Show at least more than 2 or 3. Actually, show 3 or 4 assets. Let it be the land. Let it be building. Let it be motor vehicle and equipment. So these are the 4 assets I want you to show me in the notes. So now you need to go and show me how will you go about preparing the note. It's 6:36. We will be done at 6:41. So there are no figures. You're preparing for those notes. With all the activities that happens, they will buy the car, there will be a depreciation, there will be addition. Go ahead. So that is how the note needs to look like. So it's also a framework. So it's something that you need to do before you start getting excited about calculation. So the way that we're going through this lecture is very important for the 6th of June. You start by doing this thing. Should you start the other way around, don't join my class in the 2nd semester. Testing listening skill here. I don't know if I want to take that hand. The others have started to work. Isabel and Valencia, the others can start writing.
I just need you to repeat which asset we are putting on this.
Land, building, vehicle, equipment.
Okay, thank you.
Valencia, that other space there, why, what are you going to do with it? Write one line item, cost price, leave the line. Accumulated depreciation, leave the line. I want you to write going down. Don't be afraid to express yourself. I like everything I think that I'm seeing there is a skeleton. That's Valencia. It's eroding. Let's see that. Nakubonga, this is what you're gonna do in an exam. Please buy a ruler if you need one. I like neatness. You're just doing things. Same comment as well with Valencia. Right, leave a line. Right, leave the line. There's enough space. There's few activities that takes place there. Welcome to the hand. I see your hand, Nakubonga. Just going through your solution before. Let me attend to everyone. Think it's the same thing. Carrying amount, leave the line. Cost, leave the line. Accumulated depreciation, leave the line. Additions, leave the line. But finally, the amount I don't show where you're gonna write the amount. The land there is hidden by off the year end. So how do we write that will cover? It needs to be on a landscape. So when you do this question, you need 2 pages. So rather use 2 pages going across on the landscape. If you are using the portrait, things might not very fit. It depends with the handwriting as well. So you need to open the next page and write from page 2 and 3. So you're gonna say page 1, open. So you're gonna use page 2 and 3 so that the format is on the landscape. Darling, you've got that it's on a landscape, but you're not gonna turn your book other around. You're gonna move to page 2 and 3. That's where we do our work. Don't be afraid. These things are there when we used to write before COVID. So you need not to be afraid to use the answer book. There's enough. What you left out, it's total because it needs to be shown under the zeros there on what is on the screen. We need that amount. They must be combined. I think that's answered the first question that is there. Nande, I think I might have seen yours. If not, I think it would be the same comment. Right, leave the line. So you don't have to have cost and accumulated at the same time. You need that space so that if something comes up or more gets added, you've got a space to squeeze things in. That's the purpose of writing and leaving the line. Same thing with non-Nhlanhla. Don't be afraid to write for the entire page. It's actually, you need to use that entire page. Linda, it's the same thing as well. I like that you've got the total there, you've got that notes. What else? Okay. See that. Brilliant. I like that. 1st March 28 February. I like. Okay, you'll tell us on the details. Just leaving the lines. I like your note. Isabel, when you guys need to write neat. Have a ruler. Write comfortable at those times so that once you write very neat, you're kind of trying to calm down at the very same time. You might think you're writing slow, but you've got everything sorted out by doing so. Maybe Sikisho, you're one of those culprits, not unless your table is having a tablecloth that is nice, working from bed. Let's see where it's at.
Say, make
No,
fun
no
of
one
I'm
is
using my
talking.
bed.
It's only me talking. I'll give you guys a chance. I'm making it work. I know maybe it's your stationery here, but I need the entire page. I can see you try to squeeze everything in the half of the page. I want that entire page for the note. So on the next practice, I'll cover you that you guys still need to do this until you do it at least at 4 minutes. So now what I'm heading to, let me just see a few to go. Let's check. We'll assist you. There's Zakes on a few things, but I'm happy with everything. Is writing and leaving the note. I mean the line after each line you've written. Same thing with your nail. Let's see there. Yeah, see writing when you're there. I'm not here. It's okay. It's good. I see the dates are not there. Your nail. That's gonna be worrying. And then if it's a camera issue on Kutrano, it's very, very not clear. I think I've covered up until earlier, so I'm very happy you didn't have the total. I think there were a few that were coming. Humulimo did not load. I don't know why. Let's see. And see, I like what you really did there. With the accumulated depreciations with the brackets. If I'm not correct, you're the only one that can have done that. Guys, those that are on the group, just check on what NC did with the accumulated depreciation. I know no one did what I'm looking for. Valencia, that asset disposal, I want you to split it into two. So you guys, from asset disposal, you're gonna need extra 2 lines because you need to reverse the cost and reverse the accumulated depreciation. So I don't want one sum up. That's where you guys' confusion is at. You want to lump thing in the note. But what I'm trying to say, I'll come to the hands, don't stress. So now those that are having a 30 minutes lunch at work, you're gonna cut it. You need to quickly eat, maximum 10 minutes if you've got a lunch box. Those that goes to the shop, it needs to stop immediately. You need to carry lunch box if you're back at work. You need to kind of do this practice. Practice will make you pass, unfortunately. So we're not even here on these technical things about the numbers. We want to get this out of the way quickly. So you're gonna do this up until say maybe next week, Thursday. Guys follow. So we need to cut. So if you're having a 1 lunch hour, you can't be eating and talking to your friends. They are not writing next week. There's no presentation, Peter, for now. We're cutting the lunch drastically now. So at least spend at least 20 minutes doing a little bit of practice, those key things on the required. See, if take all the past papers, answer the required, not the question. So you need to make sure, do I actually answer 4 questions? That is fine, you're done for the day. You don't have to get into the question because dealing with the question is one thing. Attending the required is another thing. So I want in the next 2 weeks to make sure all my requireds are covered. Once I start comparing you with the numbers, you don't have the worry of how we need to do things. We get to the next page where we do calculations. Let's see, before we do that, there were a number of hands. As I was commenting, I'm not sure if they were going down or they disappeared. Let me go to the chart. Okay, no problem, Rorisang, Petuho. Okay, you couldn't see the presentation. Thank you for commenting on the time. Excuse me, Bonnie, I'm gonna have it later on as well. No problem on those that go. So let's talk now. Yes, you go, darling.
Evening, everyone. I just want to ask, you know, pushing us to do the framework, the body of all these nice stuffies we need to learn. So we need to do the body of a statement or the PPE within 2 minutes. I'm just asking so I can practice when I have time to do the whole body or the framework of a relevant statement within 2 minutes. It seems that's the time frame you gave us. I'm just asking.
For this, it's 5. That's a good question to re-ask. You need to practice. I'm saying when you've got 5 minutes, when everyone is sleeping, see if you can do this quickly without worrying about the numbers. Yes, you're correct. So you need to make time, unfortunately, not when if I have time. That time has to be made at some point. So here, for instance, if I think boys yesterday were watching UEFA, while it's half time, I can do all these 3 things, exercise, while I'm waiting for them. I'm grabbing my coffee, I'm practicing this framework, but I'm not worried about calculations as yet. I need to get better on this. You're right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I understand. Thank you.
Hi, sir. Are we
Yes.
getting any marks for the framework?
So the framework is what is required. You're answering the answered, the required.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a
So there's
lot of marks.
few marks we're gonna get.
It's a lot of marks.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Marks are not about the numbers on accounting. We want to see if you can prepare financial statement. Remember, that's where we started. The requirement for you are this, what is expected of you. And this is exactly what we are doing. Let's get to the objective of today's class. This is what passes you accounting. So what you've been doing, you're doing exactly that. Leave alone the numbers. Remember, all the past papers is only the numbers that change. This principle, they don't change. So what you've been doing today, you are properly preparing the financial statement. And that is what is asked in an exam, either in a financial position, either in a statement of comprehensive income, either in a note. So one of these 3 is definitely in the exam, question 2 or question 3. I'm getting to where I know you guys want me to be at. We'll get to the numbers. And that's where you're going to be more confused with the numbers. So you see, once this is out of the way, you've got nothing to worry about the numbers. They will take care of themselves. Happy people. It's your turn to talk. We've got 5 minutes. To the note on how we do that. There's that note 3. So someone asked earlier on, so whatever total I'm getting, I'm plugging here. For argument's sake, it could be 100,000. So all that you're saying to the marker, I'm moving from the financial position, go and see how I got that 100,000 next to note 3. We're going to that, yes, Darlene?
I think this is a stupid question,
Don't
but
no such.
is PPE always note 3 or are they going to, I think this is, that for me it's a stupid question. Maybe it's
That's all
noted
right.
somewhere and I didn't read it. So I'm just asking, PPE, will it always be note 3 or will it be
Please make it note
1
7
or
or whatever. Note 1 should not be note 1. Note 1 is accounting policies.
okay.
Could be any number you like except 1.
Okay, thank you.
I like that question. It's a brilliant question, actually. Note 1 is accounting policy, so you can't do it, note 1. Guys, let's see how we do it. It's the same process. You don't get lazy to write. And this you can only do by practicing on its own. Property, plant, and equipment, how you guys do it. Let's go now. You write land, factory, office. I don't know. I think I've mentioned 4 in either way. So you write in a landscape. Let's get that. Not in a portrait. So you need page 2. I don't know if someone has got a book there. Open your book. That is page 1. Once you turn to page 2, so you're going to use page 2 and 3. This is how you're always going to write with that. Because you don't want to squash yourself and stress. Because the work that is compressed, it causes depression. Then you get an anxiety in an exam. Then you start panicking. Feel free. Just use 2 pages. Landscaped to page 2 and 3. You write nicely. So on the first 2 page, you can write 1 or 2, and then the other 2 in total on the next page. So you need to write comfortably so So all these assets they want, they will be across. They will definitely change you with each and every question, but land and building will always be there, and equipment, including the vehicle. But now you cannot plug until you've read the question to say which one are those assets. So nice. Even if that's the case, you can erase. So you cannot write them. Can leave them out if you're not sure, but doesn't change the principle. At the end, I'm gonna need a total column on page 3. So I must write total here, even if I don't know which asset I'm dealing with, but the format is very important if I'm preparing the thing. So I need the total. All right. Let's go. You don't write abbreviation like I did here, beginning of the year. There's one student I gave that thing. You'll pick up that my beginning of the year will be July 2020. So you'll write nice, the beginning of the year balance. As I write this, I leave the line. So I go to the next line, I write cost. So I don't make them close to each other. Write, leave the line. Because remember, you've got the entire A4 page. You write your cost, you leave the line, meaning you jump the line. You write minus accumulated depreciation. Someone has said you did very well. It needs to be shown with brackets. Yes, Mipo, let me take your hand quickly.
See, I just wanted to also ask, I saw someone also send a text. I just want to know, where does everyone post their whatever that we have been writing down? We
We'll
all
get
yes,
to
we
that
also
in the
want to
next 2
participate.
minutes, because it's either you're starting now and you didn't share your numbers. I'll share my number now, then I can load you up. All right.
I did share my numbers, but I was not added into any group. So
We'll
maybe
double
that's
check.
why.
Don't worry, no problem. We'll do that. Okay, let's get to this quickly. So as we write, we leave the line. There you close your bracket, because the total of the two, the cost minus accumulated, it goes to the beginning of the year. You could have addition, so you'll start buying new assets. You leave the line again. You get to depreciation, you leave the line. You go to the end of the year, you leave the line. It has the cost minus accumulated depreciation. Can't see anything, Joy Askis. Can you see now that I've written and left the line? What is missing here? If I'm gonna have the asset disposal, I can be able to come and write in between those lines that I'm referring to that I'm leaving. I didn't add it here. So that assists me. So you don't want to, majority of you wrote like I've written here, but now you don't have a space. And once you come to end of the year, you can't write below here. So that writing and leaving the line, it will give me the space to maneuver anything I want to add. It could be asset disposal here. Do you guys follow? Thank you. That writing, when something you've forgotten, you can still add in those space things. So you guys, what all of you did, you didn't want to breathe. You had addition close to depreciation. All right. Let's get to that. That was the note. You're almost done, but with it. But you need to get it better. Let's get towards the end of the slide. The time is up so that you guys can get my numbers. And then you text me directly because of Popia and give me a permission to add you to the group. Those numbers that were written on the chat, I cannot take them because I don't have the permission to do so. That was the class for today. 283 5898. I'll put it on, I'll type it one more time. Thank you for coming, and may the load shedding be with you.